Welcome to Triple F, bringing life to your faith, family, and finance.
Hello, and welcome everybody to Triple F. We are excited for this segment of family, where we provide you content to help support you in your growth, in your faith, family, and finance. It's truly an honor. My name is Danny Katoa. I have the honor and privilege of hosting the show. Today, we also have a special guest speaker that's here to share with us how he's been able to build his family based on principles and of kingdom principles of foundation. So we're excited for that. So strap in, grab you a cup of coffee or a smoothie for the next 30 minutes. I have Asi Fakaosi all the way from Everett Beach joining us today. Asi, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience?
Good evening. My name is Asi Fakaosi. I'm excited. I was happy that Brother Danny asked me to come and share some things that's regarding the show, but also on my heart, and looking forward to a time spent with all of you. So thanks, Brother Danny, for the invite, and looking forward to a conversation.
Yes, most definitely. I know your wife Robin is on her way home. Hopefully, we'll have her to join us. And know you got the kids in the background, and it's so perfect for a family show. So, why don't you share a little bit? Also, we'll kick off. Share a little bit. How was family for you growing up? What was that like? What's that experience for you?
I think if I do share my background as far as my family, I want to say I'm proud to be who I am because of my family. Growing up, being in the Polynesian background, the scene. My dad is Tongan and my mom is Samoan. So in the Polynesian atmosphere, or just the culture, they always respect. The faith, believing in God. And so growing up for me as a family, it was real tight knit. We would have prayers every day at a certain time as a family. And dinner was just the same, just eating together. But the biggest thing that I got is just how my parents just kind of love me and my siblings in a way that when you hear those two mix of Tongan and Samoan, it's more of, hey, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. But in the fashion of our family, it was more of the respect where my parents would really kind of talk down a little bit to us, kind of be on our level and always checking up on us, which when I saw that, I wanted to know more about it. And so having the experience to just kind of see my parents' parents, and they do the same. So, like I said, I'm very happy that I had a family that was strong in their faith, but more so, looking at they take care of family. And so that's how I was being brought up within, my upbringing.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah, no, because I'm listening to you and I'm smiling because, I just know, growing up in a Polynesian household, there's all this different myth and experience that people say, right? We get spanking to a whole different level, right? We get discipline to a whole different level. And so for you to share how your parents always checked up on you and things of that nature, that shows me that there were actually people practicing kingdom principle versus just on the other side of what we're accustomed and used to, right? So awesome, man, awesome. Look, why don't you share a little bit of what you have taken away from what you experienced from your parents, and what's important to you today to instill in your family, not only in your marriage, but also with your children today.
The biggest takeaway that I get from my parents is family time. Utilizing that time, whether it's prayer or just to sit down and just kind of talk. How was your day? What's going on? Is there anything that we can help? I take that away. I took those principles and really take it, for my family. And I see having that, there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of personal stuff. I mean, even for myself, just being excited, looking forward for the kids coming home, kind of say, hey, how was your day? Practicing the communication. One of the big things that I missed growing up was just having that one-on-one talks especially with my dad, who's gone, been with the Lord since 2012. But it's one of those things, the legacy that I see from him, that I do want to carry on with my family, with that kingdom family mindset.
Amen. Amen. No, it's just funny as you speak and hearing the voice in the background, having fun. That's what it's all about, But I remember, like, growing up in the Target household, you get too loud like that, you get yelled at or you get spanking and things of that nature. So it's good to see that that we can break those strongholds, that we can break those bondage and raise our kids differently in the way where you're sharing, that you're communicating, you're connecting, you're getting to check in to see, hey, how are you doing? And I think that's one of the segue to the third question, is that's one of the biggest problems we face in our society today, where both parents are out working, and then sometimes the dad has to work two jobs on top of it. And so there's an absence of a father at home to really speak life to, especially the male children, but just the presence of everything starts at home, and then it overflows out. And I forgot the podcast that I was listening to, but the gentleman was he was a prophetic apostle, and he talked about that all of our problem in this world starts at home. And if we can fix home, if we can heal the wounds at home, it will overflow. And I was like, wow, I've never looked at it that way, And so it's so exciting to see your approach, is definitely different from what I assumed that most Polynesian, like my experience was. I wouldn't say it was that, I got to talk to my dad. That was one of the most enjoyable things that I did. But I felt like more in my upbringing, it was more of like a boss and an employee relationship, I was told what to do, versus like hearing what was on my heart, and like what you're doing with your kids today. So what do you see is some of the issues that were encountered, not only in Hawaii, but you see on the broadest scale, like some of the issues that are happening in our society today with family that really is destroying family today?
That's a great question. But before I answer that question, I want to just piggyback on what you said, like how your upbringing is so separate from where I was. And, it's so funny because, when we talk about it at church, we talk about, hey, how was your upbringing? Like when I hear everybody else's, pretty much it's almost the same as yours. And for me, I'm like, oh, wow, my dad wasn't like that, So, it's just having to know where you come from and then how you can make those changes. Now, to answer the question that you said, there's a lot of things that's happening in the world. You know, one, like I shared, there's not too many communication, with parents and their kids. There's a lot of disconnect in that, that phase of life. Is, if we look at the statistics, if we summing up everything for one day, as far as how long do we talk, parents talking with their kids, I want to say it's less than 10 minutes. We add up all the seconds throughout the day. But just imagine just more than 10 minutes a day, you will build some relationship a little bit with your kids, where they see where you're coming from, what you expect from them. And at the same time, you can see what you expect from your kids, and at the same time, what you need to do with your kids. Having that kingdom mindset, and what we're doing with Robin and I, with our kids, we talked about it. We're in the process of being foster parents. We have 2 young boys, 3 and 4, and the same principle that I've taken from my parents is really communicating, connecting with the kids at their level, to see how we can build that relationship, build that connection, so that there's a two-way communication. Sometimes, like you said, it's either the parents gonna say something to the kids, and then either the kids gonna respond, or they'll just stay there. Or if the kids are trying to respond with their parents to get affection, to get love, and the parents like, hey, do this, do that, you'll be fine, right? But breaking those strongholds, breaking that sensitivity of what the world brings now, meaning instant family, instant, like, hey, I need this, let's get it done, but there's no time in it. Meaning, if I wanted to, for example, people want to get their car washed real fast, so they'll take it to a car wash and let the machines do it. But then the aspect of washing your car at home, you get that time to kind of really look at your car, how dirty it is. But the people that you're washing with, you can kind of communicate, talk, and say, hey, don't forget, you take care of the front, I take care of the back. See, when you do things together, you're communicating at the same time. The world now they're just missing that. It's either or. Right. And, with this program, Faith, Family, and Finances, I like it where it is. That's the other thing that is missing in this world, is the proper order of things, the priority that they have. And it's perfect priority what you guys have, Faith, Family, and Finance. I know we're talking about family, but that's the thing, is just setting some priorities, but also communication. I think that's the 2 biggest things that I see right now. What's happening, there's a lot of disconnect.
No, totally. I see. There's so much to take away from what you just shared. You share a whole mouthful there. But the 2 things that really stood out for me is, one, as a father, you are the man in the house, and you setting the tone in the right manner, right? And so, because your presence and your experience of how you were raised up, you willing to pass that down generationally to them. And where, for me, I thought when I first got married to my wife Kathy, I thought my job, when we got our first child, I thought my job was just to provide. I'm providing, and her job is to raise the child, right? Like, that's literally how I thought. So I don't knock on people when they don't know how to bring order into their home. I don't knock on people for not understanding, because I didn't understand, right? I think that's why I'm driven and felt led to have the show, so that we can bring real people like yourself to share our experience. And hopefully, look, somebody spoke life to me and say, do you know that you can raise your that there's a blueprint to raise your family up on, right? I didn't know what that blueprint was. I mean, I saw it in my dad, I saw it in my mom, and man, I have the most amazing parents. It's just that there's some things I wish they could have been different, right? But I don't regret not one bit of it. Maybe I was a little kolohe at the time to even understand it. But I just appreciate what you just shared about that. It's that there is a blueprint and that you can implement that blueprint. For me, I thought, hey, I got the finances covered. It's your job to raise the kid, and that's so far from the truth, right? And we see it today where, we just, we jump into bed with anyone and not care in the world if there's a life being produced, right? And then we move forward to the next person. And then here's a child that's fatherless, right? And then, develop a single mom to raise a child without a father. And so it's just generational stronghold that continue to perpetuate over time. So I appreciate, I hope, I know that people will be blessed by your share. So as we move over here to the last question, we're moving right along on time. And I want to comment too on something that you shared last night. I thought it was so powerful. In our elders meeting, you explained how your boys they fight over prayer time. Who's going to say the prayer, right? And I remember like the I just thought I had hit the lottery when in my household implementing that blueprint when my kids started fighting. Who wants to do the prayer, And I was like, wow, Pastor Ellie's right. If I teach them, they will do it, right? Like, through discipleship. And so to see my kids show up that way, and I was trying to hold it together last night in our meeting. So just a joy because it's 3 and 4 years old. But your last comment is what caught my attention, Asha. You say that the baby said, I don't know which one, but one of them say, as they were arguing back and forward, they said, no, we're going to wait for mommy to come and then we'll pray, then we'll go to sleep, And I like that really hit me in my heart big time because of the seeds that you two are planting in them at a young age. And so you guys are, there's people who I know that you and Robin have been blessed to become foster parents for your children, and there are people who produce children, and they're not man enough to do the job, to raise their kids, and so hey, I appreciate the share and your transparency, and your heart. For those of you who don't know, Asi and I, we go to the same church. We're elders at our church, and man, I've seen Asi do everything, and his wife Robin, from taking care of our youth to worship to anything that needs to be done to keep the church going. And when I was first asked to be a part of the elders group, I was like, man, I don't want that smoke. I don't want none of that. I see, but to actually, to be quite frankly, like I see how you were carrying the cross for WMC and how much you believed in the movement, and Pastor Ellie as well, and Mama Becca. So it melt my heart, man. I couldn't, it was one of the reasons, as Pastor Ellie kept planting the seed in me, I kept running, I kept running, but I was like, man, I gotta help my brothers out, But it's your giving heart and your servant heart. There's only a few people like you that are around, man. So I don't say that just because you're on the show, but I've experienced it. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, and so Grateful for you, brother. Grateful for you.
I appreciate that, Brother Danny. I just wanted to, respond to that. Like I share what my parents did for me. Um, some of the things that I see in myself, I see in my dad, and and all of this that puts us where we are today is because of God. And the the other biggest thing for me, and for our church, we're in the season of prayer, right? And
Right.
we're just finishing up the month of May, of strengthening our prayer life for our family, which I shared last night. It's an awesome month, awesome theme, a perfect time for us. It's been a month that we had the two boys, and during the month of May, we're strengthening our prayer life for our family. And so, the two biggest things that I'm getting is, as you shared just now, is uh, in all of this is our faith, and then a heart of serving. And like you said, you see me doing a lot of this stuff, but with my family is uh, kingdom mindset, right? And everything that we do, who are you doing it for? Who are you doing it to? And it's an audience of one. And um, with that purpose, every blueprint has a legend, and that legend, one of the legend is, hey, put God first, and the blueprint will just reveal itself
Mm.
from the foundation to the walls to the roof, and then all the interior, exterior painting, whatever comes into. But there's a proper order, and like you said, the blueprint is given by God, but it's about what we do with the blueprint.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like you said, there are parents, there are parents that birth out children, but don't have the heart for the responsibility of taking care of them. And that's what I'm saying. We have the blueprint. Sometimes we don't even use the blueprint that is in the front of us.
Mm.
Um, every blueprint is designed for each family, but the legend, every blueprint has the same legend, right? The size, the uh, how the foundation and everything, but it's how we put into. So um, taking what my dad given me, I want to do the same for the boys. A lot of times we look at the negative and say, you know what, we're not going to do that. I was raised up with that, but the mindset is taking away the good things and enhancing it and live off of that and not worry about the negative. Again, it goes back to put God first and everything else will fall in place. And that's the biggest takeaway for me. And like you said, um, for the young ones, say, hey, let's wait for mommy, for prayer time, is where we continue to utilize the blueprint, practice the blueprint, live it out. Then you'll see the fruit of it as you go. So the more you practice the things that you want to implement or follow the blueprint, you'll see it. You'll see it happen.
Mm.
And like I said, we just had the boys for 1 month, and the boys are just arguing among themselves. Good argument that I want to pray. No, I want to pray. And so those good things that we can lead, um, for our family. But I wanted to just kind of share just a verse that kind of put myself into the place of where we are today. It's from Colossians 2,
Mm.
verse 7. It says, let your roots grow down into him and let your lives be built on him. Then your faith will grow strong and the true you were taught, and you will overflow with thankfulness. So just having that being one of the verses that kind of stabilize, the blueprint for my family is what we're rooted in, and having them know whether where the source comes from, basically everything aligns accordingly. And so, and that's where we are today. And tomorrow's another day that we're going to continue doing what we do until it becomes a lifestyle. You know, practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes them understand why we do it, and then it becomes a lifestyle, and that's what we're praying for. So,
no, that's good. That's so good, man. There's so much content. I know people that will be listening to this on replay will be blessed by your shares and coming here to a wrap. One of the things we always try to within this 4 question is, somebody listening and want to take that step forward. What are some practical things that you can give someone who's a father, maybe struggling like I was prior to, encountering Pastor Ellie? They think they're doing the right thing, but they're actually, counterproductive to where they want to go. What would you say to somebody like that that could help them, that's listening in, not only live, but on replay as well?
One, I think is just setting a time, throughout the day, just having that get together as a family, planning it out is one. Two, what is the Lord saying for your family? What do you want your family to become? A closer family, a family that can communicate or be open, a family that loves each other. I mean, there's so many things that you can create your family, but I think finding where you want to start, like taking each step. You want more of communication with your family. Then there's some things of just a simple questions of say, hey, how was your day today? How was school or how was work? Anything happened? Just starting a conversation and having that support where the communication, where you could see a lot of communication happen. And then the second step would be just more of like, oh man, how can I help you with whatever you're going through? What do you expect from me? A lot of times is the dads always say, "Oh, you're gonna do this," but sometimes we have to listen to, our kids and see, what are their expectations from their parents? What makes the parents happy? And so then you're still building some more communication, and then you would find some things that you would do to navigate of what you want to accomplish, like what we're doing with church, right? Having themes maybe a month or 2 months, work on it,
Right.
see where it goes, and taking small steps. The world nowadays, they want quick results, fast, instant. Let's get it big real quick, right? But the family, you have to put time in it, and that's why I said find the time, spend as much time you need in every aspect of what you're trying to get with your family. I mean, I think that's the most simplest thing you need to do is just finding the time, and then see what are the issues, whether it's communication, affection, or support. I mean, there's so many things. Every family has different priorities of, within their family. But find the most common thing or the most thing that you really want to fix first, and just start from there. Like for us, what I really wanted our family to be is a prayer family. And so when we find that time, which is after dinner, after they shower, before they go to sleep, we have that family time. And in that family time, one is that's when we ask, how was your day? Did you learn something from school? Were you nice to your teacher? I mean, just having that communication with the boys, and then after that, um, some life lessons. Teaching, how important listening is. More to hear, less to speak, and then just a little example, and then you see them grasping like, oh, okay. And then we talk about prayer, and so every night as far as prayer, like I said, we're strengthening our family prayer time. Um, we talk about different subjects, whether we're praying for one of our cousins, one of our aunties, our uncles, or a friend or a teacher, just giving them something to pray about. Um, and then we pray. And so after we pray, then we talk about some other things as just to get them talking.
Yeah.
And then, and then we call it a night. And so in the next morning when I'm gone at work, they're with Robin. And they'll wake up and say, hey, Mom, this is what I still remember from what we talked about, right? And so Robin emphasized what was being taught on their way to school. So, one, finding the time. Two, find the topic. And then three, try to do a follow-up, a way to follow up on what you guys discuss in your family time. So, that's what we're using. Like, that's the blueprint. And it's something that everybody can kind of take every section of their blueprint and implement what they feel their family needs in this season.
Man, that's so awesome, Ozzy. There's so much you share right there. And one of the things that you're speaking, the Holy Spirit was showing me it's a word that Pastor Ellie always talk about, that the way our family, and especially kids, the way they spell love is time. It's spending time with them. And there's so many people in the world that are out there, and I'm not knocking on making money, but the focus is money and not building and raising up their family, right? And so they buy. I was that father. They buy all the gifts, the best gifts, and I thought that was going to raise my children. I didn't really understand that you actually have to work. There's a work in progress, that you have to make time, and that you have to read the scriptures, and then you have to, as you alluded to, implement the certain things in order to change the root. And for me, I just wanted the fruit. I didn't want to do the work on the root. I wanted the fruit to turn out. I want my kids to turn out this way. I want, my relationship with my wife to turn out this way. And so that's the kind of society we live in today. But it's so cool to hear just a individual, regular, a regular person here in Hawaii who's living those principles and practicing it on a daily basis. Somebody had to teach you for you to understand the value of the wisdom that you're carrying, and now you're giving it away to others. But I just want to share with the audience is the story I heard last weekend. I thought it was so powerful because I think there's so many information that's out there today, but I hopped on this podcast and I got that this gentleman was sharing. He said that you go to the airport, there's two planes. One, there's a pilot on there, and one, there's not a pilot. Which one would you get in? And the obvious choice is the one with the pilot, right? Like, you want to get in there because he know what he's doing, and you'll get to your destination right away. And he say you would think it's obvious that people would choose to get onto the airplane that has a pilot, but actually most people would choose to go on the airplane that doesn't have a pilot, and they want to figure out, how they can fly the plane. and and experience the heartache of life in that way. And so, all I'm saying is it doesn't have to be hard. I was on that road, heading nowhere. I was heading somewhere. It was somewhere not attractive, but I thank God to understanding how to build a kingdom family. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate your wisdom, and man, congratulations to you and Robin and all that God has for you guys in this season, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for allowing me to just share with the viewers. Again, it's awesome to work hand in hand with people, but also at the same time, we all learn from each other too. So thank you for the opportunity.
Aloha, my brother. Much
Bless
love.
you.
Blessings, man. All right, I'll see you.
All right, man.